Another U.S. government shutdown is looming, and this time, the economic impact could look very different. Lawmakers are racing against the clock as funding for large parts of the U.S. government is set to expire on Friday at midnight. While shutdown threats are not new, the structure of funding this time means some critical areas of the economy may be affected, while others will remain untouched. Let's break down what's happening, what could shut down, and why markets are paying close attention. The current funding standoff centers on 6 remaining appropriations bills, covering roughly 78% of the federal government. 6 other funding bills have already been signed into law, limiting the scope of a potential shutdown compared to last year's record 43-day stoppage. The situation escalated over the weekend after federal agents shot and killed Alex Pretty, an American citizen in Minneapolis during protests. The incident reignited political tensions following another fatal shooting earlier this month. In response, Senate Democrats, led by Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, announced they will block a funding bill that includes money for the Department of Homeland Security, including Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Customs and Border Protection. Because funding legislation requires 60 votes in the Senate, a united Democratic bloc can effectively halt the bill. The key question now is whether only DHS funding will lapse or all 6 remaining funding bills will fail, triggering a broader shutdown. That distinction matters, especially for the economy. One of the biggest concerns for markets is economic data. Funding for the Department of Labor is at risk, which could delay or suspend key reports such as the Monthly Jobs Report, the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. These reports are closely watched by investors and the Federal Reserve. However, funding for the Department of Commerce has already been approved. That means the Bureau of Economic Analysis will continue operating, allowing data like Gross Domestic Product, the Personal Consumption Expenditures Index, or PCE to be released as scheduled. Economists say the impact will largely depend on how long any shutdown lasts. A short shutdown may only delay data releases, while a longer one could disrupt economic analysis and policymaking. Air travel could also feel the effects. The Transportation Security Administration, which screens passengers at airports, falls under the Department of Homeland Security. Air traffic controllers, overseen by the Federal Aviation Administration, are also tied to funding that's currently in question. In past shutdowns, both groups were required to work without pay, leading to staffing shortages and flight disruptions. Last year, limited staffing caused delays and forced restrictions at several airports. Oh, not everything would be affected. Food assistance programs such as SNAP, formerly known as Food Stamps, and the WIC program are already funded through September. That means benefits for millions of Americans will continue even if a shutdown occurs. The Internal Revenue Service is another wild card. Funding remains unresolved even as tax filing season has officially begun. Analysts expect the IRS to continue processing returns, though minor delays are possible. Complicating matters further, the House of Representatives is not scheduled to return to Washington until after the shutdown deadline. Any changes to the funding package would require rapid coordination and unanimous consent in the Senate, a high bar under current political tensions. Republican leaders have signaled they want to pass the entire funding package, including DHS, while Democrats insist DHS funding must be separated until new safeguards are agreed upon. With neither side backing down, the odds of a shutdown have risen sharply, something even betting markets are now reflecting. So while this shutdown may be more limited than previous ones, it still carries real risks, from delayed economic data and travel disruptions to increased market uncertainty. As the deadline approaches, investors, travelers, and policymakers are all watching closely to see whether Congress can strike a deal or whether the government once again grinds to a halt.